9th. First item of business is public comment. Is there any public comment on anything this morning? Alrighty, then we will announce the items to be discussed in closed session.
Mr. Chairman, the board will be going into closed session for a conference with legal counsel, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision D2 of Government Code Section 54956.9, one case, and for a report on claims against the agency.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, we'll go into closed session.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we pray this day for your ever-enduring guidance. We ask you to cloak us in wisdom and fortitude, that we may disperse our knowledge and facts intelligently among all humanity of whom we serve. Welcome to our board meeting. Again, with the announcement of items discussed in closed session.
Mr. Chairman, the board met in closed session for a conference with legal counsel regarding significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision D2 of Government Code 54956.9, one case. They also met regarding a report on claims against the agency, and there was no reportable action.
Okay, thank you. B2 is our general approval, additions, and or deletions. Any public comment on this item?
What are you on?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Chair votes aye. Okay, we'll move on to public comment. This agenda item allows anyone the opportunity to bring up any issues. You'll also, if you're here for a specific agenda item, there'll also be a public comment. You'll have the opportunity to comment at that time if you want to wait until your item comes up, or you can feel free to go at this time. I don't have cards here, but if anybody would like to address the board, Carol. That's right.
Okay, my name's Carol Byers, and there's a big article in the paper today about our speaker that we have coming to town next week. It's a big deal. Yeah, I've been trying for 3 years to get him up here, and his name is Mark Neckler, and he's co-founder of the National Tea Party Patriots group, the largest one in the nation, and he was their national coordinator for a couple of years. And 2 years ago, he started the Citizens for Self-Governance, and he's going to speak on how to rein in the federal government. There's a way that it can be done legally. He's working with Michael Ferris of the Patrick Henry College. He's one of the top constitutional lawyers in the country, and they're starting this Convention States project, and his topic will be on how to rein in the federal government and return citizens to their natural role as sovereigns. And I'd like you to tell everybody, because we'd like good attendance. We've rented the Memorial Hall. I gave Richard a copy of it, and it'll be Tuesday, September 16th, a week from today, from 6 to 8. It's free, and I urge everybody to come. It'll be good. And read the article. It's Tuesday, September 16th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Betts Hall. Thank you for your time.
Just come up and just state your name for the tape.
Okay. My name is Teresa Caples, I work with the California United Home Care Workers, who represent 200,000 providers in California, IHSS providers, and about 120 are here in Lassen County. I have kind of a question. The public authority here has their door locked for the providers to come in, and I'm just asking why, because that doesn't happen in the other counties. Public authorities should be there to provide services to the providers and the clients that receive the services. So I've been out talking with providers in the community, and that is kind of their concern, and it upsets them that they feel not respected. With the door locked, they have to knock, and somebody comes to the door, they're not even invited in. So, also, we are in negotiations, and all I ask for is for fair bargaining. I do have some providers here. It's very hard for them to get out because of their clients. As you see, one of our providers brought her client because she feels it's important to come out and be seen, because they do a very wonderful service in this community. So,
Merry Christmas. Excuse me, Melody Brawley, Lassen County Health and Social Services, and I can respond to your question about the locked door.
okay.
Actually, our board serves as our public authority, and one of our clerks at the Social Services office serves as the person who does the administrative work on behalf of the public authority and trains the providers. The door has to be locked because we have confidential information in there that we have to be able to guarantee that the state is secure. And so by a contract with the state, we have to have that door locked. We cannot let people just walk in. They have to be escorted or identified and brought into the work area. If you're experiencing problems getting someone to come to the door, just call the Social Services office and let them know.
I just don't understand why other counties, that's not the policy.
It depends on where the public authority is located. And ours happens to be where the staff are located, and ours happens to be in the Social Services building, which has real extreme security requirements for the information that they have.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Melody. Hopefully that could be worked out if it's an issue that continues to create a problem. I mean, just please let us know, but hopefully.
Okay, I thank her for shedding a light. It was just a question.
Right.
It's not an attack or nothing, but just a question of why. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I could ask, I think, I understand and appreciate the security concerns, and the confidentiality is obviously something we have to take serious, but if that is indeed inhibiting the functioning of the program, maybe county administration could work with the department and see if other alternative arrangements we could set up so that we're not having maybe the person that makes that initial contact, nested right in the middle of a kind of a hot zone or a security zone. So if that's something that can be looked at, I don't know what parameters or what constrictions we have, but at least it could be evaluated. Maybe the board could receive a report later.
Thank you.
Well, I'll add that only 25% of her job is for the public authority. The rest of it is for adult services, which requires that level of confidentiality. I don't know if it would be practical to try to place her outside, but as far as I know, this has never kept anyone from coming in. They just need to.
Well, maybe the staff can look at maybe how we assign what to what staff. Maybe there's a way we can accommodate both interests without having any sort of barriers put in place. I think that's just, something to look at.
And in other counties, they do have like a front desk type, their office is built up different, and they may be separated from the social service office. But, it's definitely set up
Well, I
to
know we're in
where,
the process of doing some reorganizing and relocating some staff and stuff. Maybe when that is done, that could be something that could be looked at. So if you have a receptionist out front, and you have your core workers in that way, if the receptionist gets a request, then the core workers come out. But I think there's ways to maybe approach that and hopefully can handle it. And I think Melody and Richard are very capable of looking at what the options are.
thank you.
I mean, just by the fact that they took the effort to come here and brought some of their invitations and stuff, that obviously is a problem. So maybe could we get we can go on that next week?
Sure, we can agenda.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a big issue.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there anyone else who'd like to talk under public comment?
Mr. Chairman, I did submit a card there, but, sorry. Dean Grouden, Sheriff Coroner. I wanted to give you an update on the Richard Minor case. The only significant updates really are that we have received the autopsy report and toxicology reports from Washoe County Medical Examiner's Office. We contracted with them to provide those services for us. Based on the information contained in the report, it's been determined that he ultimately perished due to one gunshot wound. And we've officially classified the death as a homicide. That's what it reads on the death certificate now. On the toxicology report, I think it's important just to disclose that there was nothing found in his system. There have been lots of rumors and speculation, and I think it's important that people know that he had nothing on board in his system at the time of his death. We will, continue to work on this case like we have been. We've dedicated a ton of resources to it. All our detectives, the detectives that we do have been working on as much as possible. We're following up on all the information we get from the public, and we still, want to encourage the public to keep calling us, keep giving us information. So, we've had some. We're still working on it with forensics. There've been some delays in forensics. DOJ out of Reading, who we use, was relocating to a new facility in Reading, and that began shortly after they helped us collect all the evidence. So that's been some of the reasons for some of the delays in forensics, but we're still working on those things. We're going to still continue to use everything we have, all the tools available to us, until we can bring the murderer or murderers to justice. So, thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to talk under public comment? Okay, we'll take up our unagendized board reports. Start off with Supervisor Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had one item, and I just wanted to express my thanks and appreciation to the board for its support for the 150th celebration that was held last Friday night. We had, I would say, somewhere between 500 and 600 people or more that attended the event. It was a huge turnout. Everybody, I think, that was there had a good time. It was an opportunity to focus on some of the history of the county. The Chamber of Commerce did an outstanding job, and I think Patty Hagaton and Lisa Bernard should be commended for the work they did to kind of organize and coordinate that. They had a committee basically made up of men, and they pretty much told each of the members what they had to do, and they went out and got it done. And so I just want to, those who were able to, I think Bob was there, would attest that it was just an outstanding event. It was a great finale for the observance this year, which started out with the celebration on the front steps of the courthouse back on April 1st. Anyway, that's all I have.
Thank you. Supervisor Alba?
One thing I've reported is yesterday we had a transportation meeting. Jim was there, Larry too. Anyway, it was a good meeting. We talked about recontinuing the service on Fridays for the East County service. Talked about keeping Eagle Lake going, the route out there through the end of the month anyway at least. And then also some signage for the town, pointing the different highlights to the different
Yeah, I think on that we're going to have signage. We're asked that they at some point make a presentation to the full board, because coming up with these way signs, it was thought that it could be replicated throughout the rest of the county, so the other communities may want to utilize the same approach. So they're focusing, the city's focusing on doing something in the city, but I think Aaron pointed out very well that Beaver, Westwood, Royal, Fairlawn, Janesville, all of the places around might want to consider doing the same thing. It's something that Caltrans would like to see done to kind of minimize the sign clutter on the main road. And it also helps identify where people can go to find some of that stuff.
So anyway, so if you guys look at your local communities, and they got there, all the signs throughout the community in different towns are all the same. That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Supervisor Hammer?
We went to the Washoe County Board meeting, Supervisor Wasik, myself, and Richard Egan, and we participated in the Sierra Army Depot's first presentation to the Washoe County Board. I thought it went pretty well. I want to thank Eileen for showing up too. There's some interesting stuff going on there. We met the Burning Man originator, I think. I'm not sure. But it was a real positive meeting. I think it was a real good first step for Lassen County to take in Sierra Army Depot. I don't believe there's ever been any contact between the Army Depot and Washoe County before that time. So that's the history I was told from the Army Depot. So I mean, it's a huge first step. Also, tomorrow night, I have Wednesday night, tomorrow night, I have a town hall meeting in Hurlock at 7 o'clock. If anybody wants to participate, that would be great. I have a couple of questions for Larry before we go. Okay. Yeah. Other than that, I have nothing to
Okay, I attended the 150-year celebration and it was outstanding. It was done really good. I give kudos to the Patty Agatha and the rest of the chamber for the hard work they did. It was really nice. And Sunday evening I attended the State of Jefferson meeting they had there at the Veterans Hall. It was very motivational, I guess, and inspiring kind of a setup. And I had a lot of questions I wanted to ask, and it was, the end kind of fell apart, and the last speaker was there, people started talking and moving around, and the question and answer session kind of didn't get too much done good. So I would invite them to come to our meeting here, you know, where we could have it, get some questions answered, because a lot I would like to know about it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I may, I appreciate, well, I was there as well, but I think we do have a meeting. I think it would be good to have that presentation, but I would suggest maybe we look at doing it as an evening session, not during the day, and we do it at like either the Betts Hall or Jensen Hall, so, because you're gonna have, they had over 100 people there. They were from some of the surrounding counties as well, and it was interesting. I think some of the facts that were presented, I have some question about as to the accuracy, but you know, they brought up some good points and they answered some questions that have been kind of floating out there that I'm hoping to see some answers to. But I think it should be I think probably maybe an evening meeting, so that, you know, we could have, you know, more people attend and in a larger venue, because it wouldn't work in this room.
No. And that's all I have.
I just wanted to touch on the Washoe County meeting, and also, you know, Tom knows it was a great thing you did organizing that. It was very productive. The county commissioners in Washoe were extremely grateful to have that on their agenda. They were really surprised to hear of all the great things going on at the depot, and Richard also attended. Thanks, Richard. It was, we all, you know, gave a brief, you know, talk, and but anyhow, as a result, all the commissioners are going to tour the base, and it's going to certainly go a long way to get the support of Nevada, those counties.
Well, when they toured the base, we as a board could join them and tour it together.
That'd be good.
Anyhow, they're definitely behind the efforts to promote the base as a result of that agenda item. So it was really fruitful. Thanks again, Tom.
No problem.
The sign project too, yeah, the wayfinding sign that Aaron brought up is really exciting. It's going to be sort of like a branding, you know, the community. The signs will all sort of look the same color. It was suggested, you know, different areas of the county that we talked to, like Janesville on the bottom, it might have a picture of the, you know, Thompson Peak or something. Susanville would have another deal. But the overall look would be very similar. So it was a really good idea, and it would go a long way to branding of sorts, like when you go into some other small rural communities, they have like deals like that, it really looks sharp.
And providing continuity between our communities too. so we
Yeah,
make sure that-
funny enough, it all came out of, Jim's desire to just get us.
I just want one
Big
side for
side for the
Seasonable Ranch, and
ranch.
it kind of exploded.
But, when Caltrans, it wasn't gonna be possible to put that on the highway, they came up with another alternative, with these wayfinding signs, so as a result, it turned into about 80 different signs, but done,
Very well.
organized, yeah.
Joe, we're actually working with Jared Hancock, really put the program together, and it would be nice to have that presentation for the full board.
And I just wanted to say too, our local bus providers, they're just doing a wonderful job, and they're really so community-minded, and just, kudos to them. They're going to, we're going to reestablish the route for the special needs to college, to down to Furlong for the bowling, and that was stopped for a short while, but it's going to be reinstated. But just in general, they're just always eager to help the community. They're a great partner for Lassen County. And that's all I had. Alrighty, so let's move on to our item C1.
I have a D1.
To what?
Gave you a ticket for this item,
For which one?
the one you just are trying to get out of.
Unagendized board report?
Yeah, you have a ticket for that.
Are we going to be permitting public comment on the portion of the agenda entitled unagendized reports by public, or by board members?
Yeah. Good?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Did you find it?
Sure. I thought it was a normal item, not a board report. But
Oh,
go
well,
ahead.
Fair Act says you can talk on any item. I did attend the Washoe County, meeting. I have to admit, I was there for another reason. Well, two other reasons, but I happened to enjoy the meeting. What I was surprised that they skipped over the Sierra Army Depot. And they had to be reminded that they were all sitting there waiting to, so they went back and they did pick the issue up. It was videotaped, so I'll try and get it up on the website for the people to see your input, all your input at the meeting. What I have a question though, during the videotaping and looking at it afterwards, am I wrong, Tom, or did the commander, the colonel, did he say there's two similar Sierra Army depots back east?
Yes, there is.
There is two, okay,
There's 3 like depots in the United States, yes.
okay. I wish someone had asked them about that because they seem to be more significant than the one they have on the West Coast.
You know, I don't know that for sure. I know that they have like-minded missions, but also they have separate missions. So, such as the Army Depot has this armor plating mission, and they've got the only radar to look for defects in the armored vests that the soldiers wear. There's only one of those, and it's at Sierra Army
And
Base.
that's in the
Yeah,
West
and it's a
Coast.
pretty big
Yeah,
thing.
I was just, I thought, I've always been given the impression that Sierra Army Depot is
No,
the only one that does what they do, and that's why it was so important to keep it open. I wasn't aware that there were two other,
no, I think there's one in Texas, the Red River.
in Virginia? Was it
Yeah,
Virginia?
there's one back east somewhere. The name skips, I can't think of the name right now, but.
Okay, that was all. I'm gonna try and get, oh, I know, the other comment I wanted to make is the hall itself is huge.
Beautiful.
They have 427,000 citizens in Washoe County, and so that means that one commissioner has the equivalent to all of the people that you represent. And it was just huge. They have two, well, you'll see it on the website, but they've got two giant, humongous screens. And then they have a giant 6-foot time clock that they start as soon as you walk up here. So you could put the big one back there and hit it as soon as I step up here, and then you can, a big noise goes off, and you're told to sit down.
Trapdoor.
A trap door goes right there. You couldn't resist it, I told you.
It just came out.
You know, Eileen, also the city council meets in there, the Reno City Council.
Oh, they do.
Oh, yeah, so it's a multi-use facility.
It's, I don't know if you've ever been to San Jose City Council chambers.
No.
It looks just like that. It's just big, a lot of seats for people. Great PA system.
Yeah, that to this, needs, spaces, needs.
I was thinking of gone.
That'd be more appropriate.
A gong.
Alrighty, we'll move on to our C1, 10 o'clock public hearing.
In that matter, there is a presenter today from oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking of C2, my apologies.
So, okay, we'll go ahead and open this in the assembly.
Good morning. Larry Millar, Public Works Director. What we have here today is a request for abandonment of a portion of an alley in the town of Beaver. The description of this, it's within block 20 of the town of Beaver map, which is bordered by Juniper Street to the south, Cedar Street to the north, First Avenue to the west, and Second Avenue to the east. Basically, a portion of the alley was already abandoned back in 1988. This request here is just for the northern part of it, which borders 4 parcels. The road department has completed the proper noticing, which included notice in the newspaper and posting on site in 3 locations. We started this posting back in April the 7th, and there was a requirement of 2 weeks, so we met that requirement. I think there's a map in your packet that shows the locations that you'll see the, basically it's an unused easement. The vacation or the abandonment will revert the property back to the adjoining property owners.
So there's no traffic on this alley at
No,
all?
it's never
Zero?
been used.
Is it blocked off?
Yes, it's blocked off.
What about emergency EMS stuff?
It's never been used as a roadway.
Why are we just stopping with those 2? Why don't we also abandon the remainder of the alley, the other 2 parcels?
We could, normally, the way this process works, we usually have a request from the public. And I was considering that, but the people that wrote in the request were basically those parcel owners.
Is there any contact with the parcel owners to see if they would like to join the action? They may be totally oblivious to the fact we're having this discussion.
They could be.
They'd have to be notified anyway, wouldn't
It was noticed on the property was noticed, so I'm sure they saw the notice that they were, the residents actually lived there.
Is there utility easements on these alleys?
No. It's just a road easement.
Any other questions? So what method, how would you go about it? Did you just block that one little portion there?
Basically what will happen is, the abandonment, that area will be reverted back to the property owners from the center of that alleyway. The property will be, basically merged back to those property owners.
Property owners actually currently own out in the middle of the alley with an easement equally shared by the adjacent landholders. Upon recordation of a resolution, if you approve it or adopt it, that is, that would essentially wipe out the easement and they'd have exclusive right.
Correct.
So, but the alley wasn't put there purposely for like fire?
When they established the town of Beaver, they set these alleyways up. But like this one is, as far as several others in town of Beaver, have never been used for road easement purposes.
I have a question. Larry, now, being how we're doing this, I mean, is this going to create higher property taxes or a reassessment or something, because it's gone from public use going back to private use? I mean, how does that?
Basically, it's their property, they just have an easement on it, so there should be no change to the assessment.
Unless this budget gets through the water, unless they build something back there.
So you've obviously, deemed without that alleyway being accessible, it doesn't create any, obviously.
That's correct.
Is there any, okay, what, is, would anybody like to talk in opposition to the proposed action? Anybody like to speak in favor of the proposed action? So then we'll close the public hearing at 10:13 and bring it back to the board for